Hello.
Hello,
And
bienvenue.
welcome to the 101st episode of What Up.
What Up 101.
And this episode is especially dedicated to a very important person.
A VIF.
A VIF, very important Frank.
Yes.
Yes, this episode is dedicated to you, Frank, my beautiful friend from California who came to see the show and loved it, and I wasn't even there. But in my defence, I was stuck at Sausalito. I'd cycled across the Golden Gate Bridge that day, which was a wonder day.
Was a gorgeous day.
I was trying to be a
So how long were you, to put into context, last week you were in San Francisco. And how long were you there for?
Just a week.
You were there for a week, and you were there because they are...
I was with the International
they're
Arts
staging
Festival.
your play.
No, not my play.
Your play. Oh, right.
This play was In the Name of the Sun, and it's another play that's been put on by Green Tube Productions.
Right.
It's by Martin Lynch and Richard O'Raw. So I was over there, with the cast and crew, and we had a ball. But that was the Saturday, the final night of the play. And I tried to be a realist and say, listen, I'm going to book the ferry home whenever we go across the bridge because none of us are going to be cycling it.
I'm not cycling there and back.
And everyone was like, no, we'll cycle back. But turns out we ended up rushing for the ferry, running for the ferry because we'd spent so much time fucking about and enjoying ourselves. And finally got on the ferry feeling really, get this, right? Feeling really smug because me and Nikki had made it onto the ferry and we were like, right, we're going to get to the show, right? Sending everyone else messages of the sea, right? Get off the ferry. And I went, so there's a docking station where we can leave these bikes back right beside our hotel. So why don't we just cycle from the bay to the hotel, right? Now you have to remember, yes, they were electric bikes, but electric bikes still take some fucking pushing too.
Yeah, it's right. See, when San Francisco's like that.
San Francisco was
It's
like
just a
that.
hill.
And at one stage, do you know, one night I went for a walk and I was walking and I could see more of the road in front of my head than I could. Like,
Over the top of the hill.
yeah, over her. Because
If you've ever watched Charmed,
much of like gradient, right? So we cycled all the way back to the hotel and I was like, oh, thank fuck. Imagine this mad dash because it is San Francisco, so you think your whole life's a movie, right? And
Bullet.
honestly, yeah,
So
that's what it's like. Yes, bullet. And we get back, sweating our tits off, and the place was closed. We could leave the bikes back to.
Oh,
the hotel.
shit.
So by the time we cycled all the way back to the bay, got down there, do you know we may as well cycled home again across the Golden Gate Bridge? Like
The time.
time and miles. We actually only got our bikes back to the place as other people who did cycle the Golden Gate Bridge back home were getting there. So yeah, well, I'm really sorry, Frank. I really am raging. It wasn't meant to be this time, but I am going to meet you next year in San Francisco. Watch
Thank
this,
you,
please.
Frank. And thanks for always... Because Frank always will send us a wee message and just to make sure...
We
that
love our
something has
Patreons.
happened.
If you want to subscribe, I don't want anybody feeling left out. If you're sitting watching this now and you're going, what the fuck are they talking about? Who are they talking about? Frank's one of our Patreons.
Yes.
So if you come on our Patreon, you will get a bit of crack. We'll talk to each other. We'll chat. We put obviously the Patreon videos on for people.
Wee extra content.
The extra content. And so please do consider subscribing. It's really cheap. Really, it's the cheapest podcast out there. Them two are sitting looking at me going, fucking is. 'Cause you get the Patreons for fucking free, don't you? So please do subscribe because it helps pay Sean and Luke and get them sorted for the Patreon. Which reminds me, I need to empty that out and send it to you guys soon. So our first word of the week, we're going to get straight into the words here.
Straight and tell the word.
Says that after telling the story about San Francisco. Straight into the word, right?
It's our soft opening.
Straight soft opening. That's what it is. So the word of the week is Prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia.
My phone went off there at the right, at just the perfect time. Prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia.
I have this.
Right.
Right. And I'm forever trying to explain to people what it is. I genuinely, I do have the ADHD that everybody's diagnosing themselves with.
Yeah, I heard it.
Now, I'm not properly diagnosed with this, but I am.
This is more of like a symptom, really. Like this isn't this isn't. You don't need to be.
No, it is a diagnosis.
Oh, is it a diagnosis?
It is a veritable psychological diagnosis that is to do with your brain. So prosopagnosia is face blindness, right? You know, whenever you're prosopagnosia is a condition where people are not good at recognizing people's faces.
Yeah, they have no. Yeah.
So in extreme cases of prosopagnosia, you might not even recognize your mum.
Yes.
Right? Because your brain just does not make the necessary
You need to hear their voice
connections.
or smell their perfume
Yeah.
or like get
Yeah.
into a conversation with them before you realise who they are. People's faces are just like blank.
Yeah. They're just like, you know, you do not take in that information. Your
Yeah.
brain doesn't store that data. And I do have that a bit. Like, and I would say actually more on even the less subtle side. Because I will meet someone and talk away to them and all the rest of it. And see them many times that I walk up to them, nice to meet you. And they'll go, we've met before. I'll be like, hey, how are you? And they'll be going, that's me, Bronagh. You know, like I am really, and it's
If
not.
I do that and you say we've met before, it's because you're boring.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's because your brain, you haven't done enough to make my brain
This is it, though.
give you real estate
But
in
it
my
happens
memory.
to me all the time. I need to like literally give. See at the school, like my kids go, I don't know anybody's names and all and faces.
Oh,
I
I
recognise faces now at the school, but I don't. Know
I think I told you already. I do this thing whenever I meet people, and I don't really do it on. I don't mean to do it. It's just something that happens, and it helps me to remember people's names. Where like I'll meet a person, and it's like Bronagh,
And then you put their name
I
over
put
their head.
But I need you to like. I will probably ask you at some point during the conversation, how do you spell your name?
Mm-hmm.
And you're maybe thinking to yourself, well, why does this matter? But it's because like, you know, like say your name's I don't know Catherine, but it's Catherine with a K and a Y, not a C and an I.
Yeah.
That matters because
Yeah, that
in my
locks
head,
it into your brain.
one of them's your name, one of them's not.
Yeah.
It's like data and data. Do you know, like data? One
yes.
is my name, one is not.
One is not.
Do you know, like in Star Trek Next
Yeah.
Generation?
And that helps you remember.
Yeah, and it helps me to remember people's names, and it's because it's over their face, and it's like a kind of wee mnemonic-y
It's weird
trick.
because how do you spell your name is also my way of remembering people's names because whenever I've forgotten it, I say, how do you spell your name?
How do you spell your
so
name
that
again?
they spell their name.
And then you go, "Ah."
But then it's happened to me where it's been a really stupid name, like silly name, like Anne, A-N-N. And I'm like,
No, but Anne's a
was
good
that
one,
Anne with an E?
yes.
Or is that Anne? I was just checking.
No, Anne's a good one.
And then they're like, but we're playing football. Why do you need to know how to spell your name?
What do you call your
What do
name?
you call your name?
Bad luck,
Prosopagnosia has a proper like so.
But this is
definition.
different.
Prosopagnosia.
So prosopagnosia is a different thing.
Prosopagnosia is what I've been calling prosopagnosia.
Right, so propopagnosia.
When I thought it was propo.
So propopagnosia is face blindness.
So it's a cognitive disorder.
Prosopagnosia is. What's this?
Prosopagnosia is face blindness.
And then,
Alright.
and then Provopagnosia is what Jerry Adams has.
yeah.
Is that
You don't recognise his face because no face, no case. Know what I'm saying?
No,
you know,
he has
Balaclava.
he's a balaclava on, so you can't see their faces.
no, he's got Provopagnosia because he doesn't recognise being in a rat.
No,
That's true.
he never was.
Yes, he never was.
He never was.
He never was.
Not our Jerry.
Gee,
Well, you're
fucking
Jerry.
It's your Jerry T.
You're Jerry.
You're stuck with him. So, but the thing is, as well, sometimes people with prosopagnosia won't even recognise their own face.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so they'll look in the mirror and they're like,
I wish I had that.
That
Sometimes.
sounds like a Tumblr post.
Because you'd be like, who's that ugly bastard? That's me!
yeah. See, people have had acquired prosopagnosia, which is like if you have
a
brain
head
damage.
injury.
Yeah, like a head injury.
Apparently, lots of serial killers in their youth had like frontal
dropped on the
lobe injuries, like just like
Really?
like what do you call the guy who got them all? Bundy,
Bundy.
Ted Bundy. He
That's the
had
part of your brain that deals with like decision making and all. So like it would make
emotion.
sense that you would go, oh, this is a good idea to do this.
That's a
like,
good idea. This is
Aye,
yeah.
I
do you know
know.
what I mean?
John Wayne Gacy, you know the guy who dressed up as a clown,
Yeah.
killed all the wee boys.
Creepy cunt.
He had frontal lobe.
He had them all over his. He had them all underneath his.
Underneath his house in
Floorboard,
his
didn't he?
crawl space.
There were all wee fellas that like helped them. You know, like were like, and a lot of them were homeless and stuff. But yeah, a lot of these, like, a lot of like serial killers have had like fallen off a. I think you have John Wayne Gacy. I think
Smack in the head.
He fell off a swing and hit his head
But
when he was a wee
all
boy.
kids fall off swings.
Do you know?
I doesn't make
So
you
then
into a
you
do you know
go-
serial
what's funny?
killer.
He's got a
Do
flashback.
the serial killers have just had like a childhood?
But it's
Yeah,
probably one of those
aye.
things. You know, like
More percentage of them.
do you know one of
than
those
not.
like
Aren't they in Banks' head fucking every 2 fucking minutes?
I'm just thinking there as well. That's what make me talk everyone out of it. I'm like, no, my kids are constantly banging their heads. And that
But
makes
you like
sense though, because
sometimes
they
like
are all
you'll-
fucking mental.
You know, like those like two things. That's like it's like a Venn diagram of like serial killers, people who've banged their head, and there's a
Yeah.
There's a huge crossover. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be crook, but
Aye.
if your child bangs his head off the fucking monkey bars, I would be like, nope, but letting them watch Dexter, for
I
example.
think the first time yeah.
I just got a flashback.
Don't say it. My kid's watching Dexter right now.
Keep away from fucking Silence of the
eldest.
Lambs.
Aye, maybe.
Do you still hear them, Clarice?
When I was really young, I must have been about 6 or 7, maybe younger. I don't know. I was staying in my granny's house, and the Elephant Man was on the TV,
I'm not a monster.
and I was obviously as a child like a bit fascinated, but also a bit freaked out, like.
Aye.
And I was like, "What happened to him? And all, why is he like that? No, wait, what happened to him?" My granny's like, "Oh, don't be worrying. He just fell off the swings in the Dunville Park." And
What was his
I
name
bet
again?
you've never been on the swings in the
Merrick?
Dunville Park since.
John Merrick.
Joseph Merrick or John Merrick.
John Merrick.
And then for years, every time I was going past Dunville Park, I was like, "Here."
Must have stayed his kid that fell off.
And then do you
Johnny
remember,
Hare.
do you remember Mask? Remember Mask? Not like the Mask. It's smoke. Do you mean it's that is smoking? No, remember Mask with Eric Stoltz and Cher, and the dude, and he was born with that same thing that
Oh, really?
had, and it was his,
Oh yeah.
he had a big square head.
Do you know the Beauty and the Beast stories, like Beauty and the Beast, about like ugly men and all? Was it originally designed to encourage young,
Like noble women just to go,
women
listen.
just to marry the old
He'll
man?
maybe have a fucking talking teapot in a fucking library. It might be all right.
If he does stop eating the mushrooms in the garden.
just jump at them.
Vampire stories are all the same. That's what I learned from that other podcast. Like, vampire stories are like came from like, you know, the design, this like idea that women should like be with older men and
Yeah,
stuff like
that
that.
comes
Because
But
like,
one of the first.
I don't think vampire stories were designed for women, because otherwise they'd have been teaching the women to do the sucking.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go incorrect. Because
I knew you would have a fact about this.
incorrect,
I know.
incorrect
Go.
about this because I tell you why.
Our local lovely vampirologist.
Because pre-Dracula, but this
I was thinking Vlad the
This
Impaler.
all comes from Dracula, but Vlad the Impaler wasn't seen as a vampire until Bram Stoker
Yeah.
brought his book out. Vlad the Impaler is seen as a Christian hero in Romania because he held back the stem
Yeah.
of like the Ottoman Empire
Ottomans.
coming into Europe. But I Bram Stoker's Dracula, another Irish writer called Sheridan Le Fanu who wrote Carmilla. So Carmilla's actually the prototype of the lesbian vampire.
Ooh.
So you've got a girl called Laura, and she like
Succubus.
lives like suck your bus. I'll suck whatever you want.
Yeah, man. Bus wanker.
You got enough money. But yeah, so Carmilla is this girl, and she gets like she's lost, and so this girl called Laura and her daddy brings her in. But at the night time, she's like visited by these spirits, and Laura's starting to get sick. But what happens is there's another guy comes from another place, and his daughter was the same age, and it was the same thing where this girl come along, and Carmilla, you know, so it's sort of like. Vampires are forbidden sexuality. So if you think about Dracula, he's the forbidden sexuality. Lucy, the character of Lucy.
Aye, they run
he
about
fall-
sucking the same sex's neck.
So Lucy is this is what happens if you fall for this sexy foreign because he's foreign. He's old money. He is, you know, he's sexual. He has he's the depraved sexual other from Eastern Europe. Lucy is the character, the female character that falls for this,
Right.
and then Mina is the character who's like, oh no. No, I'm the virtuous one.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, it was, but you found that like vampires predates that
Yeah.
vampires were, it was the sexual
in this
other.
context, it's like the teen.
They're like, vampires are gay.
Vampires
Right?
are gay.
Vampires aren't for women.
We-
Vampires are gay.
We love, but Carmilla, but she's the lesbian vampire, so she's pure for the women.
Well, she is for all the women.
Listen,
then.
will I tell you, she'll not be put off by B on the period. She's fucking pure salad.
Yes, she'd be drinking herself under
She'd
the
be
table.
going like I say, fucking that lady.
Here, there once was a vampire called Mabel, whose periods were heavy but stable. And every full moon, she'd grab a large spoon and drink herself under the table. Tell your kids that one tonight, going to bed.
Once was a woman from Ealing who had a peculiar feeling. So she lay on her back and she opened her crack and she piddled all over the ceiling.
There was a wee woman from Spain who threw her leg over a train. The train went so fast, it tickled her ass, and she'd done it again and again. Or my granny's one. There was a wee woman from Dunmurry who needed the patient a hurry. My granny was a wee lady, right? She ran round the back and opened her crack, and a fella back then with a lorry. There once was a man from Thracian who sat in the bath, or who whipped out his bollocks to wash him. His wife said, Jack, you better put them back or I'll jump in the bath and I'll squash him. Right.
How big were they?
There you go.
So
Limerick.
this is the one where you don't... So come back to...
Prosopagnosia is the
his-
only one.
that's
I
one-
was calling it Prosopagnosia by accident.
So what do you call the one where you see faces in things?
Oh, yes, the one where you... So the opposite, the synonym, we might say. It isn't actually a
the
synonym.
antonym.
But to this is... There is... The human brain naturally tries to see
Patterns.
and faces and things because that's what it's built to do. This is my brain telling everybody that's what we're fucking built to do. So in our little saved, we have a word up. Actually, maybe you know what? If you want to, you too can join our word up collection where we collect words on Instagram in a little album. So let me know if you want to be added to that.
Like any words, like like a wee word that like you might think, oh, this is like a normal word.
Pareidolia. So that's Pareidolia is a psychological phenomenon involving the perception of patterns, especially of rudimentary faces where none actually exist.
Has anybody ever seen...
So
It's
here
like
is
the
a
way-
little, I will tag word up in this. Here's a little screenshot of like things. Faces. Look at the blinds with the faces in them.
This is like a sexy 80s...
Why is it?
This is like a sexy
Must have
vampire.
been love.
You know, like Fright Night? Do you see?
Yeah. Oh my God, let's do it. Are you looking for love?
Looking for love? You're on your own.
Join Desperate.
You're not
The
on
only
your own.
online dating site for desperate people. You're
Desperado.
guaranteed a ride. No insults on desperate.com.
Can't be desperate and judgy.
Yeah.
You can't be desperate and picky.
Yeah. You might not get the peck of the litter, but you can always put her in the bin.
You might get the pick of the letter, but you'll get the pecker letter. I don't know.
It's like the time my dad started telling me about Whistler's mother. You know the painting?
Huh?
Whistler's mother.
Mr.
He was
Smith, Mr. Bean.
talking about Whistler's mother, and I was like, never mind Whistler's mother. I want to see Mother's Whistler after all. And it was one of those ones where my daddy didn't want to laugh.
But he thought he knew he was tickled.
But you know where my dad does this thing because his lungs are terrible. He chokes instead. He just decides to have a happy wee fucking heart attack in front of you instead of actually just laughing at you. Do you know what I mean? He
So what's wrong with him? Oh no,
he goes
he's
like this. He goes like, Bronagh.
is he all right?
instead of-
He's having a great time.
Instead of he's actually
He's
having
actually
the time of his life. Right?
He's in a wrinkle.
He's not Dan. Swear.
Is he not Dan? Sure, you're not Daddy. Daddy.
All right.
Daddy.
All right,
Daddy.
hold on a wee second. Can I have a wee ambulance, please? But yeah, anyway, someone was saying that he'd be all right.
Be all right.
Be all
Listen, he died. Died.
Daddy, quickly, where's your credit card? Daddy, where's your card?
What's your PIN
Daddy, where's your
number?
what's your PIN number?
Quick. Put
It's for the ambulance.
put his phone up in front of his face before he...
Yeah, quick. No, he'd be walking up to your dad and coughing with his phone. Getting his face recognition.
I was trying to
buying
find-
shit on eBay. Ding, thank you, Daddy. Ding, thank you, Daddy. Sorry, come on, guys. Can we not take a minute to appreciate how fucking funny that was?
Sorry, I was looking up.
I was
the
thinking,
were
so
looking
just
at
like
your phone?
our cats. Newsflash from home. Our cats hate us going away so much that they hid our passports. I swear.
off.
Now, obviously, it's a totally coincidental
That
thing.
is a toxic relationship, David.
Yeah, we're being pure. What do you call it? We're being Stockholm syndromed by our own fucking cats. No, because our now, obviously they don't know. They knock shit out all over the place all the time. But our two passports were sitting at a table at the back of the room, and so they've pushed them like this here. So they went behind it, and they've been stuck behind a cabinet.
The cats actually did it.
Cats actually did. Our cats are actually a very good judge of character. A person we had in our house staying over one time, for reasons I will not go into on camera, because everybody, even fucking assholes are
Entitled to
entitled
anonymity
to
sometimes.
anonymity. Yes. Plus, if we go all in it and you start talking about things, it all gets toxic. But they were in our house, and one of our cats went into their bag, pulled out a hoodie, pulled it and carried it the whole way into the hall where their wee cat litter box is, and smooshed it into the shit.
Did they?
And they were completely right.
I love that.
They were completely they were really. They've never done it. They've never done
They've
it before,
never
and
done
they've
it
done it
since.
since.
They knew the vibe.
They knew that person was a fucking
See,
Shithole. Shithole.
Speaking
You
of this
shithole.
person, well, if you're looking for a word to describe this person, why don't you use this week's
Swear down,
motherfucker.
Kiss my ass titties, bitch. I'm just saying as many like,
Why
swear
don't you
words.
talk about use
Cockalorum.
it in a sentence? That person who was staying in my house was a real.
Cockalorum. Well, cockalorum would be, I would say, like, for example, Richard Tice, deputy leader of the Reform Party, is a cockalorum.
It's a cockalorum. Little fucking.
Oh, your woman up in Stormont, Emma Little Pengelly?
No. I was trying to describe him. I was like going to
Oh,
say,
he's like a little Hitler.
It sounds like a charm, like, you know, it's like Wizard Viagra.
Cockalorum.
Cockalorum.
It does.
Wizard Viagra.
Wizard Viagra.
Sorry, darling, I've had too much butterbeer. Cockalorum, like eating ashes right now.
That's your wand, Roger. Put it away, Roger. You gave me a splinter last time.
Pussy wettis.
That really sounded like something the Teletubbies would say, like anything. Pussy wettis.
Or it's like an animal's wee animal that you can get in.
Pussy wettis.
Talking about the what do you call them creatures you were saying, the Teletubbies, right? So Teletubbies, I was under the impression that Teletubbies were wee babies, right? Again.
But no, see, the babies are the tiddly tubbies.
So what
babies are the
the
Teletubbies,
fuck is
yeah.
going on?
The Teletubbies have babies now.
No. So I was watching. So
I don't think they're theirs. They're not theirs. They
In
just
my
find them.
daytime job as a support worker, some of our people that we like would have like CBeebies on in the background all day. Just something something stimulating because like a lot of CBeebies would have like nice Mr. Tumble.
Well, CBeebies, you have to remember that CBeebies has been
Hello,
completely
let's try a
designed.
party song.
All the programs on it. Not that I'm
Are
I
weird.
sound like I'm advocating for CBeebies here, but they are all designed by child psychologists.
Yes.
So they're the best ones to watch if
Like
your child is going to watch
repetition.
TV.
All this,
Yeah.
but it'll be on in the background, and if they just some people with learning disabilities find it very useful as well because it helps with things like structure and the right kind of stimulus because sometimes you can be overstimulated.
My
But
child
yes.
used to know whenever it was bedtime because of CBeebies. This sounds terrible, I know.
No, I think
off.
that's amazing.
I think it's great though, but he used to go to me, right, see whenever this little sound came on, dung, 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 Eggle Piggle, and he would go, Mummy, Peppa, meaning change the channel, because I knew once Eggle Piggle was over,
Bedtime.
bedtime was happening.
In Spain, whenever I lived in Spain, they used to have a thing on the TV called Los Lunes, and every night, and I thought this was such a good idea, and that's why I love Michael Pig. That's why I love if you're a parent and you've had that on, and as you say, you see this, and the kids go like, right, it's wind down time, and if you do this enough, there is something in their brain that helps them to go. Right, it's
Yeah,
time
the
to
wee
bed.
circadian rhythm must
But it was
get
a wee
into
song. It
them.
would be Buenas noches, hasta mañana. Los lunes y los niños nos vamos a la cama. Nos vamos a la cama. Nos vamos a la cama. Nos vamos. Very repetitive. Nos
So it's
vamos
good
a la
night and goodbye,
cama.
all the wee babies and
We're going to the
everyone,
bed.
and the loonies are going to bed.
Hasta mañana. Until
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. That sounds familiar to me. I think I've heard that in the background.
Liam loves the Teletubbies now. That's his wee thing at the minute. And his favourite wee bit of the show is when they pretend to go to sleep. And then they get up again and go, no.
Yeah,
And then,
he always loved doing that.
he's like watching
kids
TV
love that.
and he like turns around you and he goes, nah.
Ah, those things. Isn't it
That's
great whenever you
cute,
start to
Didn't
see
know-
them interacting with the real world?
Didn't know
You're just
Borat
like,
was a
what the heck?
Teletubby.
And they're
Like,
doing their own, like they're doing their own, like they have their own, like they're making their own choices about the crack.
I brought my kid. My kid is obsessed with his teacher. Right, the baby in the creche. His wee teacher's called Orla, and he is always like Ola, Ola this and Ola that and Ola. So I brought
So it's
him.
like Dora the Explorer saying hello.
Ola, Ola.
Can you
So,
say?
but I'm delighted because obviously.
Can you see gentrification, gentrification? Because all the poor kids aren't going to live here anymore.
My kids, I was away naturally, so I really missed him, and I was bringing him out, and as he saw Orla, he just went, Orla!
Oh,
And I went, and for anyone who's listening and not watching, I just did a thumbs up.
did a big thumbs up for Orla.
He did a thumbs up to her, and I was like, when does my kid, when did he turn into a player for a start?
A wee dude.
Because he was just like, he saw her and thumbs up to her as he was in my arms, job done, I'm away home with my mummy. And I was
Aw.
like, that is fucking adorable.
I love seeing the personalities come out.
But also, I was like, I'm a terrible mother. I left my child for a week and now I've come back and he thumbs up people. And I didn't. You know
I
what I mean?
Missed it.
I was like, and I missed it. Like, he does that now. But yeah, it's just, it's one of those things. Had a great time, but missed my kids, you know?
But I do think sometimes it's healthy because, like, you know, if you go away, you can't miss them if you don't go away.
That's true.
You can't have that feeling of being looking
And
forward to
as
seeing
Reese
your kids.
Witherspoon says, if you don't shout at your children, you're not spending enough time with them. Like, see those people go, oh, I don't ever
We don't
swear."
say no.
You're like,
It's like Angelina Jolie. I remember reading this thing where Angelina Jolie was like, and every day I make every week I make an appointment to have lunch with my kids. What? What? What are you doing the rest of the fucking, what are you doing at lunchtime the rest of the time?
what is she doing?
I didn't send you the Meghan Markle thing, did I?
No.
No, fuck. I'll find it after. I'll show you. It's
What
fucking
is?
hilarious.
All right, okay.
It's like
sure.
Meghan Markle preparing food for her kids, and it's like, but she's doing it in the style of like a whimsical fucking 1940s like cartoon. Like,
Oh, what?
Oh, really?
It's like that girl, she goes,
yeah,
whenever
like
my
that.
children are asking for a glass of water, I make sure that I hike to the top of the Alps to get the purest snow that I can. Then I take a 3-day trip to the Antarctic in order to get an unpolluted, untouched piece of
Well,
ice.
I think that you're basic because I go to the the Sea of Serenity on the moon and get my kids like water from there.
I get on a shuttle and I go to the Jovian moon of Europa, which has huge ice caps, and I bring it back, by which time my child has died of thirst.
I've heard the Jovian moon at Europa actually like dissed Israel at Coachella, and now it's not cool anymore.
I heard that the Jovian moon of Europa is really close to Uranus.
I bet you it actually is. You be fucking nerd.
Jupiter. What comes after Jupiter?
You're mad.
Yeah. What comes after Jupiter? Nobody, because if you read your Roman mythology, Jupiter always came first. Yeah!
Jupiter was a player.
All the geekery
All the
into one
geekery coming
shitty
in.
wee
Yeah,
joke.
I fucking love. Let's clink glasses.
Let's clink to that. Clink to that. Clink, clink,
I
clink.
want a nice wee sound. Yeah, there we go.
A wee clink.
Fucking boom. Right, H2. Oh, I near dropped that.
H2. Oh no, she did.
my God.
She better don't.
Oh no, she better done already had hers. Is
If you fancy coming over to the Patreon and seeing a little bit of extra content there, we are going to talk dirty words.
Doherty.
Dirty
40.
Dirty words, yeah. We're going to...
She using dirty talk. Gonna use dirty talk.
Did you hear her say
Dirty talk, I want you. Dirty talk, I need you so. Money talks. Money talks. Dirty cash, I want.
And that's why Patreon costs money. Thank you. Teddy B.